countries stay there for a couple of weeks and just defend that Southeast Asian Games gold medal. Ngayon naman, silipin na natin.
Yun yung pinaka-importante, Carlo.
Yeah.
For everybody to really, truly meet each other. Magkakakilala sila okay, casually or socially. Pero pagdating nga sa team, may training camp, merong babiyahe ka, merong magsasama-sama kayo, doon nahanapin ng both the coaching staff and of course the SPP management as a whole. Kung sino nga ba yung mga pwedeng magsama-sama talaga. Let's remember, this is all in preparation for next year, the 2023 World Cup na dito gaganapin sa atin. So, etong lineup na to, we are about to meet, Carlo, you're about to introduce, na pinakilala din naman na kagabi. Hindi ito yung maglalaro every single tournament eh. At napakarami, mamaya dadaanan natin yan as we go along. But first, let's meet who's on this SEA Games team.
And let's start with the point guards, no? Kib Montalvo, Kevin Alas, and Robert Bolick. Of course, Kib Montalvo, we saw him for the first time against India and against New Zealand no Asian qualifiers of the FIBA Basketball World Cup. And he was impressive. I mean, his defense, his tenacity, ramdam na ramdam mo yung difference when he was on the floor.
Naramdaman nung mga nakalaban natin ito nakarang window, yung nararamdaman na ng mga PBA players, mga kalabang guard nito ni Kib Montalvo. And at his age, nakakagulat nga na nasama siya doon sa previous window, but pinatunayan niya that he does belong on that squad. And right now, he's being given another shot, another chance by Coach Todd to crack this brand new lineup.
And yung narinig pa natin dyan, no, itong coach ng New Zealand, nagkukwentuhan sila ni Tane Samuel. Sabi niya kay Tane, you know who's my favorite player from the Philippines? It's your former teammate, Kib Montalvo. Because even the coach of New Zealand appreciated the tenacity, appreciated the fight coming from Kib Montalvo because he knew what his role was. His role was to pressure the opposing ball handler and take threes when available. So alam ni Kib kung ano yung kailangan niyang gawin. And it's good to see him be rewarded with another opportunity to play naman sa Southeast Asian Games. Another player who was there in the Asian qualifiers, Robert Bolick. And if you pick up 17 assists in the PBA, you know that you're a prime-time playmaker and syempre magagamit yan ng Gilas Pilipinas.
And hindi lang yun. Hindi lang siya prime-time playmaker. This guy also is a prime-time clutch player. Alam naman natin ito si Bolick, napakatibay ng loob nito ni Berto. He will try and set everybody up at first, but when push comes to shove, when it is needed that he has to take a shot, alam natin, si Robert Bolick hindi aatras yan from any challenge.
At sabi nga niya, no, kay Coach Chot, I was an original member of that 23 for 2023. So dapat lang kasama ako dito. And you appreciate his willingness, his wanting even to be part of Gilas Pilipinas. Kasi, you know, when they were still in the discussions between siya at saka Northport Batang Pier for his new contract, I think he was able to make them agree to, you know, release him, diba? To play for Gilas as much as he wants and just join that team whenever his number is called upon.
May opt-out yata, no? Na every time the country calls for his services, he has that option to actually leave his mother squad and play for the country, which is a nice thing to have in a contract. And let's just remind everybody then na this new batch, before pa i-announce ni Coach Jojan, they made it clear, I think mga 4 or 5 days before that, sinabi nga yung process, ano? Even si Boss Willie Marshall was saying na tinatawagan pa yung mga players isa-isa. Hindi lang sila pinangalanan lang. The coaching staff and the SBP actually spoke to every single one on this list right now. Kung interesado sila, pumayag naman, kaya sila sinama na dito sa pool na to. So Bolick nag-volunteer but everybody else agreed din naman gustong magsuot ulit ng ating Gilas jersey.
This particular player, I love the addition of Kevin Alas. We've been talking about him, Magu, for the NLEX Road Warriors. A player na naka-double-digit scoring for all of the games nitong NLEX in the elimination round. Well-deserved spot for Kevin Alas.
And you were talking about how Kib Montalvo plays a role. Si Kevin, kay yung 11 straight games, at least this tournament na naka-double-digit scoring siya, hindi palagi eh. Sometimes he'll do it in the first quarter, sometimes when he comes off the bench, second quarter, pero minsan, kahit starter o off the bench na, third or fourth pa siya gagawa. Pagka binigyan na siya ng green light ni Coach Yeng na dumiskarte na para sa sarili niya, tsaka niya ginagawa. Pero this guy also averages about 4-5 assists per game, Carlo. He will play a role as well para dito sa Gilas Pilipinas. Hindi siya yung, ito, super scorer na ako ngayon. Kevin will be there to fill in whatever needs to be filled in para dito sa Gilas Pilipinas.
Okay, naka-recover na yata yung iPad ni Magu. Hinimatay na naman. Kasama po talaga yan sa episodes natin. As we talked about Montalvo, Kevin Alas, and Robert Bolick. Siyempre, sinasabi natin PGs, SGs, SFs, power forwards, and centers. But we all know that all of these players can play multiple positions. I mean, Kevin Alas can play alongside Robert Bolick and it wouldn't be a problem. You know, Matthew Wright can slide over and be the playmaker and it wouldn't be a problem. So, for the sake of argument, dito muna natin sila ilagay, knowing full well that they can slide over to any spot. Pakita naman natin, diba? Thirdy Ravenna playing alongside Dwight Ramos. And it doesn't mean na hindi sila magsasabay kung pareho silang na-determine as small forwards. But for now, let's leave it in this general section. The shooting guards, let's talk about the best shooters in the pool right now in RR Pogoy and Matthew Wright.
I've been saying this for years, Carlo. I've been campaigning, I guess, or basta I've been hoping and praying na RR Pogoy and Matthew Wright get on the same Gilas team once again, because I truly believe these are the two deadliest Filipino shooters right now. Siyempre, of all time, may Alan Caidic ka, and from Alan Caidic's time to today, maraming ibang shooter. But for today, with their age range, where their age range is, and in preparation for 2023, I truly believe Pogoy and Wright are the best shooters that we have. And yun naman talaga ang perennial problem natin eh. All the time, kahit na nung New Zealand game, we saw it. Shooting was the problem, the three-pointers, pati nga, pero dun nga sa New Zealand, pati free throws. Pero these guys just need more time once again in the international game. Okay, sabihin nyo, baka overkill, Southeast Asian Games lang naman. Huwag natin inanaman because parang training camp na to. Kung sasabihin yung patambakan naman natin na 50 to mga to, okay lang yun. No problem. Basta makatakbo lang sila within that system once again. Basta makuha nila yung range nila. Basta mahabol nila yung paano pumito ang international referees. Napakalaking bagay niyan for guys like this. I am so happy. I am so glad that Pogoy and Wright are back on the squad.
No, sabihin nyo overkill itong lineup eh. Anong tawag nyo dun sa naglaro sa Pilipinas noong 2019? Yung kinoach ni Coach Temco, no? That was also a loaded team. I mean, to be honest, ang lakas din ng team na yun also with Chris Ross and Stanley Pringle, and another outstanding campaign para sa Pilipinas in the SEA Games. So our Pogoy, Matthew Wright, di ka naman magkakamali. Both can shoot the lights out. Unfortunately, our Pogoy was still coming off an injury when we played in the Asian qualifiers, kaya hindi masyadong na-maximize yung potential niya. Now, Matthew Wright, ever since his last stint with Gilas Pilipinas, nakita naman natin has become an even more like a deadlier playmaker para sa Phoenix Super LPG Fuel Masters, who will be seeing action tomorrow contra Northport for the final spot in the playoffs ng ating Governor's Cup. Yes, Mago.
Yun yung matindi sa binitawan mo. Dati nga, shooter. But this guy is now a playmaker. He's averaging, 7 assists per game? And yung timing, yung mga drop niya, when the defenses collapse on him, alam niya anong angulo gagamitin. At alam niya paano hanapin yung mga kakampi niyang libre, which is why we need him right now for the SEA Games. Same with Pogoy, para nga makilala niya ng mas lubusan pa yung mga magiging kakampi niya kung sakasakali na hanggang 2023 nandiyan na siya sa lineup ng Gilas Pilipinas.
Small forwards, moving on to that section right now. Again, easily, any of these 4 players can slide over to the 2 guard. Walang problema. Even Dwight Ramos can play a bit of 1 for Gilas Pilipinas, which has never been a problem for him because of his solid ball handling. But Thirdy Ravenna, Dwight Ramos, kung yan yung dalawang magpapalitan sa wings, I think they are shoo-ins for 2023, and I would love as much as possible to see them wearing Gilas Pilipinas jersey kahit anong level pa ng basketball yan.
Na-quote na si Coach Chot Reyes dito, no? After that window, after the qualifiers, etong si Thirdy and Dwight, they're the future of Gilas Pilipinas. Pwedeng tanggapin nila yung future, but knowing these two, yung competitive spirit ng dalawa, yung fire within them, they will take this on as a challenge and they will try and prove that, because there's a lot of veterans on the squad, they'll try and prove that sila nga ang karapat-dapat na magkaroon nga ng susi sa Philippine national basketball team. Ang interesado ako dito sa dalawang bata. LeBron Lopez, we've seen shades of him. We've seen, nakapag-ingay na to ng bahagya, kahit papano. But Carlo, you would know more. Caleb Harris. A lot of people are making noise about these guys. Even the Dean Kenito Henson was telling me, bago pa pangalanan, nung nalaman niyang uuwi dito si Caleb Harris, sinasabi niya sa akin, watch out for this kid. I heard a lot of good things. Tell us more about this teenager as well, Carlo.
We love seeing potential. Ganun lang naman tayo talaga sa Pilipinas, no? He will be making his Gilas debut. I think the youngest player alongside Lebron Lopez, of course. But he said he's a play alike. I mean, if he wants to make a comparison, at least in terms of gameplay, sabi niya, Jason Tatum. I mean, he didn't bat his eyes about choosing that player. He said that in the interview with the Dean Kenito Henson, no, sa Play It Right TV. So if that kid knows that is his peg, then of course we're going to be excited kasi ganun tayo eh. I mean, if it's a new face, we want to see what exactly could he do on the floor, and it will be very exciting to see him alongside Francis Lebron Lopez as the youngsters naman itong Gilas, because as sinabi na natin, Magu, di ba? Yung importante dito, the reps that you'll be getting. So if Harris and if Lopez will be good enough to join the team for 2023, this is the proving ground. This is where you stake your claim. Kasi ginawa na ni Dwight, ginawa na ni 30, because of their performances, there is no chance that they won't be part of the 2023 team, no, unless something weird happens. But they are almost close to being shoo-ins for that World Cup team. And Harris and Lopez will have the same opportunity to stamp their class, to determine their future, and book their spots in the future team. Pagu.
Grabe naman yung peg niya, Tatum. Coming off 5 consecutive 30-point games in the 5-game win streak. Yun lang naman. 5 sunod na 30, 5 sunod na panalo din. So, should be promised. I have not seen him play, and I'm really interested to see, because there's a lot of buzz in the basketball community and even online. Marami na nagkikwentuhan about this kid. And we hope to see him, hindi lang highlights, we hope to see him in full games. Hopefully, he performs well enough in practice for us to actually see him get some runtime, or get the roster spot at first and get some runtime during big international meets.
We move on to the power forwards, Japet Aguilar, William Navarro, Troy Rosario. We all know that in terms of being a natural power forward, siguro si Japet lang yung nandyan, because William Navarro and Troy Rosario can both very easily slide over to the 3. Navarro played a lot of 4 in Ateneo. But, I mean, lately, syempre nakikita natin siya more transitioning to a 3. Kasi yun din naman yung plano for Carl Tamayo, di ba? Even if he is a big, he is sized as a local 4. Yung strength natin is playing yung size over to the 3 position. Kasi may shooting naman sila, may ball handling naman sila. So, again, easily, William Navarro and Troy Rosario can slide over to the wing position with Japet as the only natural power forward. Pero alam mo nung nasa bubble kami, Magu, tinanong ko si Mark Pingris, yung kaibigan natin si Mark Pingris. Sabi ko, Ping, kung ikaw bubuo ng team for the 2023 World Cup, sino pa yung gusto mong makita na sa mga nakakampi mo dati? Sabi niya, alam mo Carlo, Japet pa rin eh. We still need the size, we still need the athleticism, the jumping ability from the power forward position. So, hindi pa tapos yung kampanya nitong si Japet as a Gilas Pilipinas player.
I'm actually glad na pwede natin sabihin he did change his mind. We had him here on TOT last year. Diba? Yeah. We were asking him kung willing pa ba siyang bumalik sa Gilas, willing pa ba siyang lumaban for a spot for the 2023 team. Dinerecho niya tayo. Hayaan mo na sa mga bata yun, di ba? Hayaan mo na yung next generation mag-take over ng Pilipinas basketball, but wala ka nga mapupulot na Japet every day. Or wala ka makikilalang Japet na palakad-lakad lang. Sa dami ng napakagaling mag-basketball sa buong Pilipinas mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, hanggang ngayon, nag-iisa yung Japet Aguilar. That size, you mentioned the athleticism, that fire, yun yung nakakalimutan lahat. Baka hindi siya yung lang eh. Yung talent ni Japet nandoon, yung height niya nandoon, athleticism nandoon, pero yung want, yung gusto, yung gutom, yung fire within Japet, that's what I love. And once he gets Montalvo, Alas, Bolik, maybe even si 30 or Dwight lobbing him those passes, you know that gets everybody else involved, not just the team, not just the management, But everybody in the Coliseum, everybody at home watching on TV, everybody on social media, nag-iiba yung ingay ng Philippine basketball pag meron kang Japet Aguilar doing Japet Aguilar things.
Troy Rosario, proven and tested, nakapaglaro na nung huling World Cup in 2019. William Navarro, we saw glimpses of brilliance, no, from William, especially doon sa Asian qualifiers in Clark. Biglang lumilipad, biglang nagdadunk itong si William Navarro to show us the athleticism that he has, can also shoot from the outside. Very polished, very technical yung abilidad nitong si William. And I'm glad that Coach Chot is still, involving him dito sa kanyang kupunan. Because, if you look at that, yung ibang members ng Gilas Pilipinas draftees hindi muna makakasama in this particular competition. So we're talking about Chadi Rangel, we're talking about JD Tongkab, even Jordan Heading. They were not yet a part of the Gilas pool for the 31st Asian Games. Pero si William Navarro will be included in it alongside Troy Rosario, of course.
Before we move on to the big men, na yun palang tanong na natin, sa inyo, watching live right now on the Smart Sports Facebook page and on the 2OT Facebook page as well, pati sa YouTube natin, sa 2OT channel natin sa YouTube, sino yung paborito nyo na additions dito para meron ng nakabangko para pagkatapos natin dito sa centers, mapasadahan natin ilan sa mga favorites nyo? Carlo? The Kraken. The Kraken is back. Tinanong din natin si The Kraken nung nakakwento natin sa 2OT kung willing pa ba siya to compete for a spot for 2023. Si Japet, sinasabi, hayaan may mga bata. Si Junmar, gusto no? Si Junmar, ayaw niyang diretsuin, pero parang, ano sabi sa atin, kung bibigyan siya ng pagkakataon, why not? Parang ganun. He's back in this pool, Carlo. You gotta love it.
Yep. Junmar Fajardo alongside Japet can be 3-time World Cup players. 'Di ba? Napakalaking karangalan 'yan for anyone. I mean, for anyone to accomplish that, to say that you played in 3 different teams that competed in the FIBA Basketball World Cup, ang pinakamataas na level ng international basketball competition. That's something. And I'm sure Junmar Fajardo, even at this day and age, is still hungry to perform, still hungry to play for flag and country. And I'm glad that he's there. But alam naman natin si Junmar, hindi makabasag pinggan, no? Napakabait na player, and he will be important in forming the chemistry of this squad. Syempre yung experience din niya, handing that down to the younger bigs tulad nitong si Isaac Go, who's also there. And the knowledge and the reps. Imagine mo yun, if you are Isaac Go, going one-on-one in practice against Junmar Fajardo every day, laking bagay niyan. That is a huge development, in his career, just knowing what it takes to defend and to hang out against a guy as good as Fajardo.
One of my favorite Gilas moments in the modern day of Philippine basketball is still the late fourth quarter to overtime stretch, that moment of Junmar Fajardo, nung nag-foul out na si Andre Blanche. This was all the way back in 2014 in Sevilla in Spain. Pero that's when Junmar really burst onto the scene. He was part of the team, okay, but he was one of the reserves. He was backing up, of course, Andre Blanche will get most of the minutes. Pero nung nawala si Blanche, at that moment, yung paglabas ng laro ni Junmar reminds you of how Ping really stamped his class on Gilas in 2013 nung namang napilayan si Marcus Douthit. Yun yung mga moments na talagang hindi mo malilimutan. The way Junmar dominated that overtime period against Senegal, and this was back in 2014. 8 years ago na. Isipin mo ngayon kung ano yung dadali ni Junmar if he cracks his lineup. Di ba?
If the Kraken cracks the lineup, we are bound for great things sa Southeast Asian Games. So, syempre, gusto niya pang magdagdag ng medalya para sa bansa. He'll be playing beside JP Eram. Of course, Mo Tautua transitions from a SEA Games 3x3 gold medalist to a 5-on-5 player. And rounding out our lineup, our pool of 16 is Isaac Go. And Magu, of course, we have to state it. In the Southeast Asian Games, hindi po ito katulad ng FIBA na pwede kang magpalit ng lineup every game. Only a lineup of 12 will be submitted before the competition will start. So 4 of these players will practice with the team but will not be included in the final lineup. They will not be able to play. But of course, you want as many players here as possible kasi kailangan mo ng starting unit, kailangan mo na second unit, kailangan mo na third team, just to make sure that the practices run properly with 3 different units of 5.
Yun ang malaking bagay, ano? And ito nga po, this is just the SEA Games pool. We don't know who the FIBA Asia Cup pool is going to be. We don't know what the next qualifying window pool is going to be. So importante nga for us, I guess, nandiyan na sila for them to really get to know the system, each other, and this and that. Para nga ma-infuse na sila. And pati yung coaching staff and management, makita na rin sino yung mukhang maglalaro ng beautiful basketball together, sino yung mga mahusay makisama sa isa't isa, siguraduhin walang magiging cancer sa locker room or at least sa pool or sa hotel, di ba? Siguraduhin nilang maayos kung maayos. Carlo, unang comment dito.
Yeah.
Si Ives Luis Hicana. Good evening, sirs. Much better sana kung young guns ang pinadala para mas nahahasana. Ito po ang problema. March 26 magbubukas na po UAAP.
Yep.
2 years na pong walang UAAP. Ngayon lang po makakalaro yung mga bata sa UAAP.
Yeah.
Kaya po wala sila. Hindi po sila available. Ganun kasimple po. Kaya po itong mga sina 3D, sina Dwight, and all of these returning guys will be paired up with PBA players kasi hindi po available yung college players.
Yeah, we would love to see Carl Tamayo and Justin Baltasar and RJ Abarrientos and SJ Belangel. Diba? Sino ba namang hindi magkakagusto? Because usually, yun yung diskarte natin for the Southeast Asian Games, diba? If you remember, for the longest time, yung Gilas Cadets yung pinapadala natin to the Southeast Asian Games. Kaya nga napakaraming gold medal nitong si Kiefer Ravena nakapag-ipon ng 4 or 5?
Diba?
5 na yata yung gold medal, 5 nung... Oo Kaya nakapag-ipon siya ng marami.
10 years siya naglaro dyan. 10 years dahil every other year, diba?
Yep. Stretching from college to the pros.
Nakabatch pa niyan, sina Pogoy dati, pati sina Troy, di ba? Yung lahat nung kasama doon sa Gilas draft from a few years ago, yung 10 Gilas draft, hindi yung pa-apat-apat. Yun yung mga nando sa Macbello was on that team, di ba? Yun yung mga nakasabay pa. And we've been dominating as well. Pero nga po, availability. Hanapin niyo po yung iba, Kai Soto may kontrata sa Australia. Si Heading na sa Taiwan. Etong sina 3D, sina Dwight, matatapos na yung season nila sa Japan. So pwede sila. Availability po ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Kaya nga po yung PBA, yun na naman po yung mga mambabash na naman sa PBA. Yung PBA, binubuksan yung pinto, ipapahiram na naman yung mga players, the team governors, the team owners, they given the go signal. These guys said they were willing to play. Their mother team said it was okay. Di ba?
Yep. And nagtanong nga dito si Junrey Karampatan, sabi niya, Carl Tamayo na wala sa eksena. Yun na nga po yung nangyari, di ba? Hindi sila gustong palaruin, but it's the UAAP. They've been out of action for a while now, and let's give it to the UAAP to get its game going again. Di ba? Ang tagal na rin nating nawala ng college competitions, and it's about high time for them to play for their own particular schools. Sabi nitong si Renz Delim on our Smart Sports page, Will Navarro is still my best choice. Sabi niya, taller version of Larry Fonacher, huge wingman, timely plays, not so flashy, high IQ player, shooter at magaling dumepensa. I mean, wala ka naman talagang matatanong. He is all of that. He is skilled and he is fit for the international games, especially if he can really transition his game into a pure 3. I think we lost Magumar John a little bit there. So, may mga nagtatanong din dito, ayaw ba ni Coach Chot kay Ange Kwame? And the answer is, Ange Kwame...
Gilas Pilipinas, he wants to take the hearts out of yung mga kalaban.
Yes, Magu. We lost you a little bit. So, if you can just repeat that last sentence.
Yun nga, si Will Navarro, bukod sa mga binanggit mo na, Carlo, I love the fact that he wants to throw it down every single time he gets a chance to. Parang si Japet din, di ba? Kasi yun nga yung bumubuhay. Bumubuhay sa crowd, bumubuhay sa social media, bumubuhay sa nanonood sa bahay, and it takes a toll out of the opposing team. Kahit na worth 2 points lang yan, iba pa rin syempre yung dunk. I love the fact that he exerts effort to do that. Di ba?
Yep. Yun nga, may sinagot ako kanina bakit daw ayaw ni Coach Chot kay Ange Kwame. Kasi nga si Ange Kwame po is playing for Ateneo, and Ateneo will be in action in the UAAP during the time na mangyayari itong competitions. Yung isa ko pang gustong ipunto, Magu.
Paalala natin, estudyante pa po si Kwame.
Yep.
Estudyante pa po yun.
Yung isa ko ring gustong ipunto, Magu, is lahat nung stars or yung mga gusto nating or yung mga iniidolo nating players na wala dito, the initial reaction is, but ayaw sa kanila ni Coach Chot? Diba? Laging yun yung tanong. Bakit ayaw nyo si Terence or ayaw nyo si Calvin or ayaw nyo si Scotty? You have to know that it goes both ways, no? Hindi ko nilalahat yung players, but it has to be an agreement between the SBP, the PBA, and the player itself. A three-way commitment between that group. Hindi na natin alam what was internally discussed. So hindi naman po dahil sa ayaw ng mga coaches sa mga specific players. Of course, they're trying to form the team. They're trying to imagine the team that will work out well with each other. And baka meron ding mga kontra doon sa schedule ng mga ibang players na gusto nating makita. Maybe they've committed to something else during that particular time. Maybe meron silang mga requirements from their families as well that they need time with them. So hindi na po natin alam. For me, just give everyone a pass from the coaching staff and on the side of the players as well. If they're not in the lineup, then they're not in the lineup. No more bashing, 'di ba? Wala namang nadadagdag yung pagbabash natin from the players or from the coaches even. So this is the 16 that we have, and this is a line that we will dissect, we will study, we will learn from, and we'll cheer for pagdating na ng Southeast Asian Games.
Ako, I think very public naman yung isang I still want to see Jason Castro on the Philippine team. I don't know if it's for nostalgia's sake or what. I just like seeing him in a Philippine jersey. Pero Jason Castro very publicly has begged off repeatedly.
Yep.
Paulit-ulit na sinabi ni Jason, hayaan mo na sa mga bata, masyado nang mataas yung milyahe ko, kaya nga natutuwa ako, bumalik si Japet Kaya natutuwa ako, nandiyan din si Jumar, healthy enough. Tandaan nga po natin, like Carlos said, all of these guys, these 16 names, pumayag po sila.
Yep.
In-offer sa kanila, pumayag sila, nandiyan po sila ngayon. Yun na lang, let's leave it at that.
Yep.
Sabi ni Romel Hebres, Junmar Fajardo is back. He's happy as well. Si Hill Las Cunha Sarabia naman, meron ng starting unit, Carlo Point guard Bolik, shooting guard Wright, small forward Ramos, power forward Aguilar, center Fajardo.
Laban.
Saan ka pa? Palag na palag yan.
Laban yun. Sabi naman ni Paulo Catalan, I think we'll need Calvin Oftana, Lebron Lopez, Calum Harris, and Navarro to fill our wing positions for FIBA. Sabi niya, sayang nga lang, wala si Oftana recovering from an injury. We could use him and he could fit in Chot's system and could provide defense. Yun nga sabi
agree,
rin Paulo,
he's got the length, he's got the shooting, and he's got the guts as well. Pero I think he's out 6 months, no?
Yep. Yun din yung sinabi ni Paulo. Pinanghihinayangan niya rin, diba? Parang he could have deserved another look. Kasi naman, yung SBP was also looking at him, di ba? As a member of the Special Gilas Pilipinas.
Nung before pa, di ba?
Yep. Maraming naghahanap kay Scotty Thompson, of course. I mean, Thompson has been balling out of his mind in the PBA, almost picking up triple doubles. But again, for one reason or another, this is the lineup that we have. So
this is the lineup for now.
Yep.
Yung sinabing initial pool, yung ideal na 60 names. So hindi natin alam
Diba 30
itong 60
lang?
na to. 30. Oh, tama. 30. Sorry. Si Scotty dati, ang isang, I think, hit or criticism sinasabi, he's gotta develop a better shooting stroke. Well, he has.
Yep.
He has it. Well, Scott 3 na nga. Scott 3 na to si Scotty Thompson. We'll see. Baka doon sa 30 o the other 14, baka nandoon pa yung pangalan niya sa other 14. Di natin sure, di ba?
Impressive math skills, Magu. 30 minus 16. I saw you struggle a little bit there.
Ilan nga ba? Nanonood ba si Dr. J? Lagot na naman tayo nito
Bati muna tayo, no? May mga nagpapabati dito sa Smart Sports.
Gagalitan tayo ni Dr. J nito.
Leonardo.
Pag si Dr. J nagpapabati, wag mong babatiin, mabatukan ako.
Sabi ni Leonardo Antoinette Melihor, watching from Saudi. Shout out po kay Christian, Lyndon, Aki, at JM. Sabi naman, may mga nagtatanong, di ba? But wala po sila Poli, wala po sila Calvin Abueva. Again, it should be an agreement between SBP, the coaching staff, PBA, and the player himself. So instead of thinking, instead of imagining who disagreed, kung sino yung hindi umoo, di ba? Wag na lang natin. Let's give everyone a pass. Let's give all of the players who begged off a pass. kung sino man yung hindi tinanong, pass. Diba? This is the 16. Let's focus on the 16 players that we have na nasama dito sa ating pool. Agreed upon, of course, by the SBP, the PBA, and the players themselves. Shout out daw kay Rafael Cabigting. Uy, si Kuya Toto Tulabot is watching right now. Si Makoy Saldo, good evening po sa inyo. And all of the people watching us right now on 2OT Magu. Baka may gustong magpa-shoutout dun sa 2OT Facebook stream.
Lumipat ako sa YouTube sandali. We're also live on YouTube. Hanapin nyo lang po yung 2OT page. Pa-shoutout daw from Angono Rizal, si Allen Isley Villarreal. Kamusta po, sirs? Magandang gabi sa inyo. And maraming nagsasabi na ng kanilang mga about dito sa lineup natin. Yeah. Tinatanong ko si Thompson maglalaro sa Gilas, sabi ni Mark Araula. Si Joshua Lacuta says kung talagang prototype Tatum siya, mag-fit siya sa system as a 3-level wing scorer. Agree. I guess we're talking about si Calum, yung bata.
Calum, yeah.
Si Maldito naman, shooting guards are too small. Maldito ka talaga. And then maybe they should change a little bit like Pogoy and Wright must be point guard. Carlos been mentioning that Matthew Wright has been playing a lot of point para dito sa Phoenix. That Bolik right backcourt will be so fun to watch. Tapos bukas maglalaban sila, sabi ni Joshua Lakwata. Bukas, 6:30. Nako, ang sarap panoorin itong bakbakang Northport Phoenix. Mamaya, sa dulo na natin magkwentuhan yan, yung mangyayari bukas. Mag-concentrate muna tayo sa Gilas Pilipinas. Baka meron ba dyan, Carlo?
May mga nagsasabi, itong si Renz Delim, yung fan nitong si William Navarro kanina, he's saying that Dwight will be needed as a point guard for 2023. No? Good size, good physicality. Yeah. Yes, on one end, I agree, of course. But if you put him at point guard, do we have enough talents to play in the wings that are at his level? Or yun yung pros and cons, no? Kung ililipat mo si Dwight Ramos sa point guard, do you have enough talent to fill in that role, that void that he will leave as a point guard, as opposed to playing him as a wing, tapos ang dami nating magagaling na point guard naman. Diba? We can leave the point guards to it and then just have Dwight Ramos as a wing player. Unless, of course, makakita tayo ng sobrang daming influx of players like si Calum Harris, if he is really as good as advertised, si Carl Tamayo, si William Navarro, if they could all play at the Dwight Ramos level, at the 3, why not? Switch Dwight Ramos over to point guard. But if they can't, then allow the point guards to, keep their roles kahit na mas maliit sila in terms of the international game.
Alam mo, this is such a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Alam naman kasi natin dati pa na napakaraming magaling magbasketball sa buong Pilipinas. Hindi pa nga kasama yung UAAP kids dito ngayon, pero siksik na yung lineup natin at marami pa tayong hinahanap na sana si ganito o dapat si ganito. Yun yung magandang problema because of the talent pool you can choose from. At least ngayon, for these 16 guys, willing and available, nagkasundo naman, they're there now. Antayin natin yung mga susunod na window. Mamaya pabanggitin din namin ni Carlo yung mga iba pang paglalaroan ng Gilas for the rest of the year. Leslie Ibasita says, shoutout po sa Isabitas Soquilla family. Shoutout din daw sa mga taga Saudi Arabia, sabi ni Ray Olid. At shoutout daw, sabi ni Plaridel Magdiwang. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. And pati si David Confessor. And the rest of the people on YouTube as I will now move back to the 202 page. Sa Smart, meron pa ba bago tayo mag-move on?
Ako naman. Si Rafael Cabigting nagtatanong si AJ Edu po kaya makaka-line up sa 2023. Well, he is still recovering. I mean, naka-recover na. But
he started playing na. And that was such a welcome sight. May napanood akong clip eh.
Pero syempre, kailangan pa natin ng mas maraming reps from AJ Edu just to get himself back into basketball shape. It's great that he's healthy.
And hayaan mo munang maglaro siya doon sa eskwela. Sila nagpagamot eh. Hayaan mo munang suklihan niya yung eskwela na inantay siya ng 1 taon.
Shout out kay Cariza Quintana. Shout out kila John Matthew at Carl from Nueva Ecija. May mga shout outs pa dito si Cecil Roque, si Arsenio Tumandao. Shoutout po sa inyo from Cebu City. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagtambay. Kasama namin ni Magumar John dito sa 2OT. Jonathan Mantahinay. Also, watching from Cebu. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Kuya Jonathan, at sa buong Mantahinay family from Cebu.
So as we move along, marami pa tayong nakahain for tonight. Pero Carlo, I know you and Guaps, may pinaprepare tayo na yung naging experience na ng nasa pool ngayon ng ating Gilas Pilipinas. Alam ko nakahanda si Guaps para dito. Para lang paalala natin sa lahat na ito mga to, hindi na baguhan sa Gilas Pilipinas.
Again,
first, yung pinaka-recent, Carlo.
From the Asian qualifiers, nakakalaro lamang. No? Magbabalik sina Montalvo, Bolic, Pogoy, Ravena, Ramos, Navarro, Rosario, and JP Eram. Of course, a lot of those players from TNT, tapos si Thirdy and si Dwight coming from Japan, they have that clause na pwede silang umuwi anytime nakakailanganin yung tulong nila. No? It's really great for those players to have that written into their contracts dahil nakasaad talaga eh. Kailangan pa silang pagbigyan ng kanilang mga mother teams from the Tokyo B-League. Lebron Lopez and Isaac Go will be playing for the first time since they were part of that FIBA Asia Cup qualifier. Si Lebron Lopez was able to practice with the team pero hindi pa siya nakapaglaro because he was actually one of the, I think, pinaka-late na makasali dun sa training pool ng Gilas Pilipinas for the last
he was coming back. He was trying to get in the basketball scene in the States pero nagkaroon ng problema. So, bumalik na muna dito. Etong si Lebron. You like that there's that core from just the very recent edition of Gilas Pilipinas, and then you like that, eto nga, may mga magbabalik. Isaac Go, Lebron Lopez, nandito na ulit para sa atin.
Tapos kung old school naman tayo, the last players that saw action from the Southeast Asian Games ay magbabalik to defend that gold medal. So, para malinaw lang na, yung Pilipinas, we swept all of the gold medals in the basketball competitions. Men's, women's, 5-on-5, 3x3. Pinanalo po lahat yan ng Pilipinas. Returning to the squad are Junmar Fajardo, Matthew Wright, and Japet Aguilar. And there's nothing like the veteran ability of these three para tulungan yung mga ibang mas batang members ng ating kupunan.
Yung Motau Tua will be making his 5-on-5 debut para sa Gilas Pilipinas. Junmar, Japet, and Matthew Wright, we just want them to be maging within the flow of the system. Ang basketball system, di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng pick up lang. Si Mo nga nakapag 3x3 para sa Gilas when it was here. Pero nakapag Gilas na yan, back in the day, naalala mo si Jones Cup?
Yeah.
Yan yung nagpalaglag eh. Yan yung nagpalaglag. Di ba?
Saan?
Nagpalaglag.
Saan?
Doon sa sa depensa ng Japan. Si yung fast break dunk niya, tapos si ate
si ate. Si Monon was able to play kasi nagka-family emergency si Andre Blatch. Yeah, I still remember that moment nung nanonood pa si Jordan Clarkson na pinagdadasal pa rin natin, payagan to play as a local for Gilas Pilipinas sa 2023. Yan pa rin po yung nilalaban ni Boss MVP, of course, at ng buong pamunuan ng Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas. Moving forward from the Southeast Asian Games, yung mga magbabalik muli for Gilas Pilipinas. Kevin Alas, it's been a while since he played. So action in the Asian qualifiers for the 2019 FIBA Basketball World Cup. Nakalaban yung Australia sa Australia, nakalaban yung Japan dito sa Pilipinas. And I think that was the last time that he was able to wear a Gilas Pilipinas jersey. Good to see him back in action.
And being in that pool right now, alam na rin ni Kevin siguro na siya yung pwedeng dehado eh.
Yeah.
So he's gonna fight, he's gonna try and claw his way into this lineup. Yun ang gusto mo, yung gutom na gutom maging part ng Gilas Pilipinas. Let's see. Hopefully, he finds that success, or kahit naman hindi, okay lang. But as long as he's part of this pool, that will make everybody else up their game. Upping the ante yan pagka nagkaroon ka ng ganyang klaseng player sa pool, di ba?
Calum Harris will be making his debut. So excited din tayo makita itong batang player na to. I mean, he has set lofty expectations for himself. And paminsan tayong mga Pilipino nagugulat tayo when younger players say, I want to play like this. Dito ko kinukumpara yung laro ko. But it's really good to see someone claim it, di ba? Parang this is the level that I want to reach. Di ba? Gusto mo makita yung kumpiyansa from this particular player, a youngster, to be, to be good enough, to be confident enough to know na yun yung target niya, that level of basketball.
And even if we wish him the best, hopefully he cracks the lineup to really, really gain that experience. But kung hindi pa ngayon, if not this edition, hopefully in the next years, in the next year or the next years or so, dahil you just want somebody this young with this much potential to be competing with guys like that, to be on the same floor, in the same training team, in the same training camp as guys like Sina Matthew, right? Sina Roger Pugoy, and the rest of those guys. Nothing but positive, nothing but good will come out of having a young gun like this training with adults.
Okay, so that is our 5-on-5 team. The other gold medal we have to defend sa ating men's basketball competitions in the Southeast Asian Games is 3x3. And I think it was made official earlier in your coverage ng PBA 3x3 Lakas ng Tatlo kung sino yung kuponan na ipapadala natin sa Southeast Asian Games. You were working with Ronnie Magsanok, of course, who is the program director ng 3x3 sa SBP. And what did he say, Magu?
According to Coach Ronnie Magsanok, and we've been hearing this for the last couple of weeks, maybe even more, na baka yung first conference champions, grand champions na limitless App Masters, baka mas maganda kung sila na ipadala dito sa SEA Games to try and defend the 3x3 crown. And kanina binanggit na ni Coach Ronnie Magsanok na eto na ngang limitless ang ipapadala, and how can you go wrong? These guys won back-to-back legs, like 5-leg 6 ng first conference, and eventually became the grand champions. And so far, kanina sa day 1, ikaw magde-day 2 ka bukas, wala pang talo.
Yep.
Limitless. They haven't picked up a leg here in the second conference, but they are solid. They've got the length, they've got the size, they've got the shooting, and they've got the talent to really defend this 3x3 Southeast Asian Games crown, Carlo.
Marvin Hayes, Jory Napoles, Raymar Caduyak, Brandon Ganuelas Rosser, can't go wrong. I mean, yung dalawang legs, hindi pa nga sila nakakapanalo, but they were there in the semifinals. They were nearly in the finals as well. A couple of breaks here and there, and they could have very well been in the finals of both legs 1 and legs 2. Finished 4th in leg 1, finished 3rd in leg 2. Kaya naman, it just makes sense for us to be sending them. At yun yung maganda dito sa 3x3, no, Magu? Dati, kumihila tayo ng 4 na players from the PBA, train them maybe for a month, and then expect them to know how to play 3x3 basketball. But because the PBA has a 3x3 league, naging malinaw kung sino yung best team na ipapadala. And you can bet that these 4 sa buong competition ng Southeast Asian Games have played the most number of 3x3 games in the past few months dahil sa PBA.
They have been solid. Itong 4 na yan, parang walang carbon copy, walang repetitiveness doon sa posisyon eh. Paborito namin ni Dr. J na itong si Caduyak. And Coach Ronnie even pointed it out kaninang umaga sa Smart Araneta. Caduyak right now is leading the second conference in 1-pointers per game.
Yep.
In total 1-pointers rather.
What?
Di ba? Yung pinakagwardya pa, yung nagli-lead sa league in 1-pointers. Paano mo tatawaran yung Brandon Rosser?
Yeah.
With his size, with his athleticism, and with his defense, nakakatakot sobra. And then yung pag-stretch. Neto ni Joray Napoles, may kamay sa labas, kayang sumaksak, kayang pumoste, kaya rin dumepensa, of course. And the all-out hustle and all the dirty work that Marvin Hayes does, the veteran, getting it done with these young guns, ang ganda ng kombinasyon netong limitless, Carlo.
Kailangan mo ng Corimao, kaya kailangan mo ng Marvin Hayes dyan to do, a lot of the things na may iwan on the floor, dive for loose balls, defend the best player on the other side. Yan po ang magiging role nitong si Kuya Marvin Hayes. And what a story it is for Marvin Hayes. I mean, in 2022, Magu, in 2022, could you have imagined like that Marvin Hayes would get himself into an opportunity where he can win Southeast Asian Games gold? Ang napakaganda ng kwento nitong player na to.
Ang ganda ng pagkakabukas ng SBP at ng PBA, of course.
Yeah.
Netong PBA 3x3 Lakas ng Tatlo, because it gave an avenue for an undersized forward who is a PBA veteran but undersized at his spot. Nung NC, solid to ng JRU. Pero nung pagdating sa PBA, syempre, yung laro mo na dating 4, kailangan mag-3 o mag-2 ka na. Pero dito sa 3x3 game, saktong-sakto. It gives you another venue, another avenue to make a living and really showcase your skills. Sabi mo nga parang nawala na si Marvin Hayes, pero ngayon, eto, magsi-SEA Games pa. Pwede pa magmedalya sa SEA Games para sa Pilipinas ang isang Marvin Hayes. Yun ang solid doon.
And I'm sure maraming 3x3 teams na tutulong sa Limitless Up Masters in their preparations for the Southeast Asian Games. Ang dami mong pwedeng kasparing. Ang dami mong pwedeng kabugbugan. And I'm sure makakatulong din yung ating pagpapatuloy ng second conference for them to get into shape.
And hindi lang dahil tutulungan nila yung Limitless para magprepara, no? Para sa ating SEA Games. There's 13 teams right now sa ating PBA 3x3. The other 12 teams, gusto nila sila naman yung susunod na mag-represent.
Of course.
And binabanggit ni Coach Ronnie Magsano kanina, pinag-uusapan na raw nila Gov Dicky Backman and Boscom Willie Marshall and the rest of the PBA and SPP stakeholders yung mag-champion ngayon. Hindi yung bukas, yung mag-grand champion dito sa second conference ng ating PBA 3x3. Yun naman daw ang magiging premyo, the right to represent the Philippines sa Singapore this coming July 6 to 10 para sa FIBA 3x3 Asia Cup. Pwedeng limitless din ulit yun kung sila mag-grand champion. O pwedeng TNT nag-champion ng first leg, SMB nag-champion ng second leg, third leg bukas magkakaalaman ng kampiyon, and may tatlo pang leg and the grand championship coming up. Yun pa yung paglalaban-labanan doon, Carlo.
Yep, very exciting times for 3x3. Just more shoutouts dito, Magu. Si Jorge Sablayan, shoutout from Lucena City. Itong si Benji De Ocariza, shoutout to his lovely wife. Jubilin De Ocariza, magandang gabi po sa inyo, sir at ma'am. Cecil Roque, good evening po. Si Jasper Gunn, na fan ng SMB, good evening. Na-discuss na natin yung men's 5-on-5 at men's 3x3. Pero syempre, hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan yung Gilas Pilipinas women, no? Ako, Magu, personally, my two favorite teams from the Southeast Asian Games, yung mga paborito ko talagang pinapanood, men's volleyball at saka women's basketball. Kasi they were some sort of underdogs in the competitions, but they were able to overachieve. Kaya naman maganda yung naging performance nitong mga koponan na to. And we were actually able to talk to yung head coach ng 3x3 and 5-on-5 sa women's basketball. He also announced yung kanyang magiging pool for the upcoming Southeast Asian Games. Gilas Pilipinas women head coach Patrick Aquino. We had a conversation with him earlier in the afternoon kasi nasa US pa siya. Masyado nang late daw kung magpapa-interview siya sa atin live. But we were able to capture it and air it for this particular show para makita rin ng mga viewers natin dito sa 2OT what they should expect from the Gilas Pilipinas women's team. Please roll our interview. All right, we are joined by the head coach of Gilas Pilipinas Women, Coach Patrick Aquino. Coach Pat, thank you for joining us dito sa 2OT.
Yeah, thank you then, Carlo, for inviting me to 2OT. Sorry.
Coach Pat, we all know in the Southeast Asian Games, double gold medal for your squads in the 5-on-5 and 3x3 basketball competitions. Since then, the pandemic happened, so very limited yung galaw ng women's basketball. How difficult was it just forming a unit, your pool for the upcoming Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam?
Actually, it's very difficult, Carlo. It started, kala ko, after the Southeast Asian Games, dire-diretso na tayo. Biglang nagkaroon ng pandemic. But nevertheless, we still have to, perform and deliver sa mga kababayan natin to be, to give all our best lagi. And it's so hard, like yung nangyari sa amin sa FIBA Asia, medyo mga bata, maliliit. So like, and then nawala pa si Jack Animam because of her injury. So it's really hard now. And trying to sustain that before, kasi nung nag-start kami with the campaign in 2019, it was almost a year kami nagte-training, and so many mga tournaments ang nasalihan namin before the Southeast Asian Games. So, but again, we have to perform this coming Southeast Asian Game in May, and we hope na maka-deliver kami.
Coach, syempre, because of your twin gold medals sa women's basketball, sobrang tumaas yung expectations, coming from Filipino basketball fans. But in terms of your lineup, putting it together, we all know that Jack Animam won't be available kasi she's still recovering from her ACL injury. how did you decide to combine yung players na manggagaling from your 2019 team and some other players that you wanted to involve, some of them playing for the first time with the team?
Actually, yung iba had international experiences na yung mga bata like Ella Fajardo, Camille Kirin, Angel Sorada, and Carlan Bingol, which they played for the under 18 3x3 group. So those are the girls na I think that with can help us build the team and together with that. And also, I'm here now in the States recruiting for some Phil-Ams that we could we get bring them back to the Philippines and help us in our campaign. So hopefully I could do that in 1 month from April to May. But they're practicing now, and hopefully with the insertion of yung mga Phil-Ams, maging maganda yung team natin.
Actually, yun yung maganda sa Southeast Asian Games, Coach, because it's not the strict FIBA requirement. So you have a bit of more leeway, possibilities perhaps to show off more names na hindi pa natin napapanood.
Yeah, something like that. Kasi nga sa FIBA, mayroon tayong rule na you have to have a passport before the age of 16.
Yeah.
But here in Southeast Asian Games, you just have to have a Philippine passport, which is something naman na nahihirapan din ako dahil yung iba hindi makakuha ng passport. And then some of them yung scheduling nung tournament natin. So talagang talagang naghahabol ako of what we want to build for the team, and hopefully sabi ko nga we could mix it up, and for the 1 month na pagbalik ko makabuo tayo ng magandang team.
Coach Pat, what's the timeline like? Nagsa-start naman mag-training ngayon yung team, because some of them have played at least with their own mother teams, yung club teams nila, pero yung iba naman have been out of action for a while. Kumusta yung conditioning, and what are your plans for the next couple of weeks?
Actually, we didn't stop training. We still have Zoom workout every day, almost 4 times a week. So sabi ko, we have to do this. So pagbalik natin, mag-training na tayo. At least you're physically fit, but kailangan pa rin talaga ng live action so that we could talaga makita mo kung ano yung mali, ano yung kailangan gawin natin. And with that timeline right now, with one month and a half when I come back, actually they're training now.
Yeah.
They're continuous training now with Coach Julie and the rest of the coaching staff for yung live action na. So hopefully pagdating ko, yung bago naman ako umalis, na nasabi ko na kung ano yung kailangan natin gawin, ito yung sistema natin, ito yung kailangan namin dumipensa, kailangan nating palakas ng katawan. So hopefully they're doing that now, and then pag dumating yung mga Phil-Ams, madali na tayo magsama-sama.
Coach, your last competition before this, FIBA Asia Cup Women's, and you went up against some of the best teams in the world. I mean, those are the best teams in the world. If you say like Korea and Japan, I mean, those are Olympic teams na nakakalaban natin in the Asian level. How important was it for your players, especially for the younger ones, to get to experience what it was like to go up against some of the very best sa buong mundo?
Yeah, it's a wonderful experience for them because they know how far we are right now to compete with them. It's always in my mind that we have to compete at that level kasi yun naman yung pupuntahan natin. Wala naman tayo iba. So they experience that, and hopefully those experiences na nakuha nila doon can give back to what we're supposed to do in the Southeast Asian Games. And a lot of learnings ang kailangan talaga namin makuha pa, because most of the teams in Southeast Asian Games are maybe practicing already for a year because of the pandemic, especially Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. They're open already. So we hope that we could compete at that level, the highest level all the time.
At syempre, kayo yung tatargetin because you are the reigning gold medalist in the Southeast Asian Games. You already released yung 18-person lineup that you will be using for the Southeast Asian Games. Pero syempre, Coach, kailangan ko rin tanong, dalawang gold medals yung dedepensahan mo, di ba? And the last one, it was Animam, it was Bernardino, Castro, and Pontejos, who have played so much 3x3 together. In terms of experience, napakarami ng pinagdaanan ng apat na yan. But again, with with Jack not being available, how are you hoping to address that issue? Have you made a decision? Do you have like a list of names na pwede mong ipalit kay Jack in that lineup for 3x3?
There are names na, it's really hard not having Jack in the lineup. It's yung mga ginagawa niya is really very big for the team, especially sa 3x3 lalo. So I'm picking on like Camille Clarin, Christine Cayabyab, Angel Sorado, who have experienced 3x3.
Yeah.
So it would be siguro matter of anong position lang yung ipapasok natin, ano yung kailangan ng team. Like for example, Jack is big girl, so we might put a big girl also that can really contribute for the team to have that gold medal again for the 3x3.
But to keep the chemistry, are you keeping the other three players intact?
Yes, definitely. Afriel, Claire, and Janine would be the mainstay for the 3x3 lineup.
Coach, can you just give us a glimpse of what you are expecting from this US trip? Gaano karaming talent yung gusto mo makita? How excited are you to send one of them or two of them, three of them back to the Philippines with you?
Well, I'm very excited, definitely, with the help of Film Nation and SPP for bringing me here to really look at it, look at them and how they play, definitely, and how would they mix up with the locals. Some of them, kasi they have talent, but you can mix it. But we hope that with the names of Gabi Bade, which she came from Cyprus, medyo maganda yung performance niya doon. So let's see kung ano yung mabibigay niya, matutulong niya sa team. We also were looking at Myloni Henson she's now playing in France. I still don't know ano yung schedule niya kasi she told me before she's gonna enter the playoff, so medyo malabo pa. Then we have Stephanie Verberabe, which is an MVP for the Division 2 with Westmont. So hopefully, she could bring her talent back home. And the last girl is a bit taller, like Maria Bambrick from Pepperdine. She's about 6 feet, and she can shoot from the outside, defend well, and hopefully, she can come here and come to the Philippines and help us.
Very exciting times for Gilas Pilipinas women, and as always, Coach Patrick, we thank you for all of your hard work for really spearheading the attack for women's basketball sa Pilipinas.
Thank you, Carlo.
Thank you, Coach.